Now, switching to the UK, Keir Starmer continues to champion digital ID. He says it will be compulsory and it's the only way to tackle illegal immigration.
We need to be really clear. You must have ID, mandatory digital ID, in order to work, because we have to stop illegal working.
Douglas, more than 2.5 million people have already signed a petition against Starmer's digital ID. What are your thoughts on the merits of this policy?
Well, this is a reheated policy from the Blair era. It's another reminder that Starmer doesn't have any real policies of his own. But presumably Tony Blair or somebody from Blair's circle has said, why not give this another go? It was fantastically unpopular 20 years ago, but perhaps people will be with it now. I'm not one of those libertarians who objects to the idea of ID because I think that government's going to come and snoop and all that sort of thing. I object to it, particularly rolled out on these grounds, because you don't need digital ID to prove your right or otherwise to be in the UK. And it does absolutely nothing that I can see serious to crack down on illegal migration. I mean, for instance, if you wanted to crack down on illegal migration, you don't have to get everyone in the United Kingdom to sign up to digital ID. You could send boats out into the channel to stop illegal migrant gangs sending illegals into the UK. You could stop the UK border force acting as the helpmates of the smuggling gangs by going out and, halfway through the channel, maybe a bit more. If the boat doesn't have to have any troubles for the UK Coast Guard and the Royal Navy and others to pick up the illegal migrants, say thank you very much to the smugglers, and bring the illegal migrants to the UK. None of that gets stopped by making every British person get digital ID. It's a classic case of an inept government that doesn't have many ideas, rehashing and reheating an old idea. And I can say with absolute certainty, it is a distraction. It does nothing to deal with illegal migration. And by the way, if they're worried about illegal workers, they could just send the police or anyone else to all of the migrant hotels and vast swathes of the UK, go to the Deliveroo companies and the Uber Eats companies and all the others, and just ask if everyone's got any ID at all, digital or otherwise, who's doing deliveries for those people. They're very easy to do, but they would never do that, of course. Much easier to put the whole country through this once again.
Now, Keir Starmer and his ideological bedfellow, Australian Prime Minister Anthony Albanese, have been railing against populism as represented by parties like Reform. Have a listen.
Well, I don't want to see the rise of populist organisations such as that. I met with the mainstream opposition party here, and I'm involved in parties of governance have to come up with solutions, not seek to divide people.
Oh, gosh, he's so inspiring, isn't he? It puts you to sleep. Douglas, these leaders say they are defending democracy itself. Is populism a threat to democracy?
In my observation, in recent years, the word populism is always used as a synonym, effectively, for parties that are popular. That's it. And so-called populism, which is almost never defined by these very second-rate dolts we have running our countries in Australia and the UK. They always rail against populism. And I think really the problem is they have a deep problem with anyone who is popular. And that's because they're not. And they always use the same playbook. We're not here to divide. We're here to unite. We want to go forward into tomorrow, not upwards into yesteryear or something like that. Actually, Albanese, Starmer, they're very, very good at dividing. Very, very good at it. And they do it all the time. So they're not anti-division at all. They just want to be able to do their own form of dividing, and part of that is dismissing anyone who they don't like as a populist. Well, as I say, I hope at some point the voters will make it clear what popularity really means.
Well, let's hear now from the Deputy Prime Minister of the UK, David Lammy, who has stepped up his attacks against Nigel Farage. He's now claiming that Farage was flirting with the Hitler Youth.
I will leave it for the public to come to their own judgments about someone who once flirted with Hitler Youth when he was younger. That is for the public.
Now, Douglas, I know that Lammy is not the sharpest tool in the shed, but I'm pretty sure Nigel Farage was born around 20 years after the Hitler Youth disbanded. What is he on about there? And what about this turning down the temperature and not having this rhetoric that could lead to violence? Have we forgotten that already?
Oh, of course they've forgotten it. That stuff never lasts more than a few minutes, if not a few hours. You could see on David Lammy's face there as he said it, he was trying to work out whether he should go there. His eyes flickered for a moment as he was trying to work out whether this was the one to wheel out. David Lammy, as I've never stopped enjoying reminding people, appeared on Celebrity Mastermind some years ago and asked in the general knowledge round which king succeeded Henry VIII, answered Henry VII. Now, that being said, it's perfectly possible that in David Lammy's mind, Nigel Farage, as a boy, travelled back in time to flirt with joining the Hitler Youth. And so we must allow David Lammy these brain farts. But I mean, yes, again, it's just woeful, isn't it, Rita? It's just woeful. We have prime ministers, deputy prime ministers of just such a low caliber. And they really do think that if they call mainstream politicians who they're trying to beat at the ballot box and in the polls, if they call them Hitler, flirting with Hitler Youth, fascist, Nazi, everything else, populist, if they do all of that, then they can win the argument. It's absolutely woeful. And they would hate that if it was done to them. And I suppose at some point, people with fewer morals, or indeed the same morals as them in these matters, as little adherence to truth, might well play that round at them. And wow, how they'll scream then, you know?